Hello, my name is Rachel, and today I'm going to be giving you a quick little update on how my TBR challenge is going. And just as a quick reminder of what my TBR challenge is, basically it started out as kind of a book buying ban. I decided that I had way too many books that I owned and I had not read, and it just seemed kind of overwhelming. So I wanted to kind of curb that. So mostly it's just trying to get me to read the books that I buy and not just go crazy and buy every book that I can physically get my hands on. And I started this in July, and so far I've been doing okay. One prong of this endeavor is to read a lot of books that I already own on my shelf. So I did okay with that. In the month of October, I reread a book that I owned. I read To All the Boys I Loved Before. I also read Trick or Treat by Ricky Tankserly-Cusick. I owned that one. I read Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I had that one on my shelf. Also Horror Store. I had that on my shelf. Pumpkin Spice Secrets had been there for a while. I read a few new ones, and I also read Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which I'd had for about a year. So total, including the purchase ones, books I owned this month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is pretty good. I think I only read 12 books total, so most of them were books that I owned. So the first prong of this was just to read at least one for the month, and I did very well with that. I totally nailed that one. So good job, Rachel. The next prong of this is that I have to read all the books that I have bought since July before I'm allowed to buy new books, or else I have to get rid of basically double the number of books, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. But I've explained this in a previous video, and I'll kind of explain it as I go. So, previously on the show, I still had several books that I bought that I hadn't read. I had Storm Wake, I had The Bad Guys #7, and Listen to Your Heart. I bought all three of those at a Scholastic Book Fair earlier this month. And I managed to read all three of those this month. So I got to cross off all three. That meant I was not punished if I bought any new books, which was a really good thing because there were so many things happening. There was a book festival in my local town. There was a library conference, and then a huge sale at a kind of library book distributor near where my conference was. So, I mean, it was rough out there, y'all, and I bought way too many books, but it's gonna be worth it. Now, the deal then is I have to read all of these 8 books that I bought this month that I'm about to show you before I'm allowed to purchase any new ones. Otherwise, however many of this 8 I have remaining, plus whatever I buy, I have to get rid of double that number. So let's say I don't buy any more, but I read 1 book. That means I'd have 7. If I bought 1 more, then I'd have to get rid of 7 plus 1, 8, 16 books. Ooh, so see, this is why I am doomed now. I have to read all of these before I can buy any more, or else I'm going to have to get rid of so many books. But anyway, enough talking about the challenge. On to the book haul. Again, all these books I must read now before I can purchase any more books. And I'm hoping that's very soon because I know that I am going on a vacation in December, and there are a ton of book places down there where we're going. So the goal is to get these all finished by December. But again, enough talking. Let's talk about the books. So the first book that I bought at my book conference, because I managed not to buy any at the book festival somehow. It was torture, but I didn't. The first book that I bought at the conference is Hey Kiddo by Jared Krasaska. This is a graphic novel memoir that I've heard so much about, and I love his Lunch Lady series, so when I saw it, I decided I just had to get it. I don't think it'll be too hard to get through this because it is a graphic novel, so I think I'll be able to finish this one this month. Next up is one that I could not resist when I saw the new cover, and I am a little bit sad I didn't decide to get it a little bit earlier because I could have gotten it signed, but nevertheless, I decided to pick up Ban This Book by Alan Gratz. He was one of the speakers at my library conference, and the new cover is just the cutest. I absolutely had to get this. I'm super excited to give it a read, and yeah, I don't think it's going to take me that long. It's a middle grade novel. It's A shame I didn't read this for Banned Book Month, though. But that's okay. I'm gonna read it anyway, and I'm gonna love it, and yes. Then the next one is one I wouldn't probably typically buy, but it was a signed copy, and I just could not resist. And that is Reese Witherspoon's new book, Whiskey in a Teacup. It's a signed book. I have to. And it's kind of like a cookbook with like some essays. So, I mean, you can kind of like skim through it. I don't have to read it like cover to cover to count this as read. So, had to pick it up. Reese and I have the same birthday, so, I mean, doesn't that mean I have to buy her book? I feel like it does. And then next up, because I've been on kind of a pandemic kick, it seems like this year, and just recently there's been a lot of pandemic talk in my town, because we just read Emily St. John Mandel's Station 11 for our One City, One Book, which involves a flu pandemic that takes out a lot of the world. I could not resist a book that was actually mentioned in Station 11, and that is The Passage by Justin Cronin. I picked this up at Half Price Books while I was away for my conference. I've just seen this pop up too many times on lists that say I should read this, that I decided I just needed to go ahead and get it. Now, this is one I probably should have resisted, but I couldn't help it. Once I started buying, I just couldn't hold back. And then these next four, I got all for just $5 a piece. That is such a great deal. At a library bookseller sale. And I am just so excited. They're all hardbacks. $5, y'all. So the first one I got is There by Tommy Orange, another book I have just heard so much about. I decided I wanted a copy. Originally I was going to get it from the library, but I decided I'd maybe like to write in it and annotate this one because I've heard there's a lot of characters, so I had to pick this one up since it was just $5. Another one that's getting so much buzz that I knew I would just fall in love with and that I would want to have my own copy of, and that is Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I'm just super excited. This is a book told in verse, so I really don't think it'll take too long to get through. So I definitely think I'll be able to get to this pretty quickly, but I'm excited to have it. And then back to the pandemic talk. I could not resist it when I saw what it was about, and that is More Deadly Than War, The Hidden History of the Spanish Flu and the First World War by Kenneth C. Davis. I have read quite a few books recently, it seems like, or at least articles, read things. I've read a lot of things about the 1918 flu epidemic, so I'm excited to read this take on it as well. Yeah, and it's a nonfiction book, which usually takes a little bit longer for me to read than a fiction, but it is aimed at like middle grade, middle school YA, so they're a little bit easier to read than like adult nonfiction, so I don't think it'll take too long, and just perfect for flu season. Am I right? And last but not least, I have been eyeing this book for so long, and when they had it for $5, I just flat out could not resist, and that is Amal Unbound by Aisha Saeed. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name, but this is such a beautiful book. Oh my gosh, look at that book. And I have been wanting to read it since I heard about it, and I just haven't managed to, so now I have a copy of my very own to read and adore and just love the cover. So there you go. I have 8 books now on my purchase shelf. These are the only books since July that I have purchased and have not read yet, so hopefully by the end of November, when I do this update again, I will have most of these read, and then I'll just plow through them so that I'm ready to go in December for a book buying excursion. And we might have to do like a break because I usually go crazy when we go on vacation. So we'll have to revisit that. But I'm really excited about how this is going so far. It really has changed the way I look at buying books. As I've stated before, I have no problem buying books. I have no problem having lots of books. I just wish I had more that I'd read than that I had not read. Having a humongous TBR is just like having a giant to-do list. So I think as long as I keep up with reading the new ones, I don't really care to buy many. Like, I'm not upset that I bought 8. I'm just a little worried that I won't be able to get to them before the next time I want to buy a book. So again, I'm really enjoying this, and thank you so much for hanging around for my updates. I hope this all made sense, and thanks for sticking with all my kind of long drawn-out explanations in this video. So thank you so much. I will see you soon with another video, and wish me luck this month with my 8 new books. Bye for now!